Okay, so
here we go, folks.
The funniest thing happened.
Hold on to your
on the
seats.
way to the forum. I don't actually. This isn't an explosive one
Because we don't know.
because it's a lot of we don't know.
Yes.
But the new Spider-Man trailer dropped.
Yes.
Brand new day dropped, and it is a mixed bag.
Yes.
Here's what I'll say. On the plus side, when I saw the trailer for Homecoming, I stayed up and watched it on Jimmy Kimmel.
Uh-huh.
Like a 12-year-old, Steve. Like a 12-year-old. And I saw it, and I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. I knew immediately that we were in trouble. And I saw this trailer, and it's not... I didn't have the same reaction.
Mm.
I think of the various Spider-Man trailers, this is the one I'm the most positive toward. That being said, a lot of concerns.
A lot of concerns.
A lot of concerns. One, my main issue with Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man is that he's not funny and that he is
Tom Holland.
too emotional.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland is sitting
Holland's
here
worse.
pining over his lost friends.
He's worse.
And I'm just sitting here like, Pete, here's the thing, though. You were the one that fucked up in the first place.
Yeah.
Who fucked it in the first place? That was you. You fucked it in the first place.
Yep.
Because you had a problem, and you didn't know how to resolve it, and so you turned to magic, and then when magic started, you fucked around with it, even though you were being told explicitly not to do that.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Because the writers need to make you an idiot.
This is what it cost, man.
Yeah.
This is the cost. The thing that bothers me the most is that in Brand New Day, the circumstances of Brand New Day, which I think is maligned. I actually really like the Brand New Day. Here's my thing. One Last Day fucking sucks. It sucks. It's so bad. It's so bad. There is no way. They did it for No Way Home, but it's even that is a barely palatable retelling of this terrible fucking awful story that fucking sucked, and they did for the exact same reasons that they did in the movie, because they didn't know what to do with the character. So they just hit a hard reset. They said, we don't know where to go with Spider-Man from here, so we're going to reset him back to a point where we all feel more comfortable. He's going to live with Aunt May. He's going to be friends with Harry Osborn. He and Mary Jane maybe don't remember everything, but kind of maybe know more than they're letting on.
Yeah.
It's just a hard reset on the entire thing. And it's just like, that's so fucking lame. But it came with rules. Importantly, it came with rules. Because, it was a deal with the literal devil. And so the rule was that if he revealed his identity to people, it would burst the spell. And the more people you reveal it to, the more likely it is that the spell will fail. And so, why the fuck is Tom Holland, Frogface over here, going around being like, okay, let me rehearse my speech. You don't remember me, but actually we grew up together, and because of magical shenanigans, because of my secret identity, I had to erase you from my life. But now, I can't get over that and start over. So instead, I'm going to be a big baby about this, and instead of taking great power and great responsibility seriously, I'm going to sit here and just opine what I lost, and be a big baby about the entire thing. Wah, 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 my name is Peter Parker, and also I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's how this comes off to me. Is just like, hey, dude, this is the job. This is the entire job. All right? This job isn't fun.
Yes.
This is the kind of job where you have to find the fun in it because it's not fun.
Yeah.
All right? This is not fun. This is gallows humor, my dude. Like, this job sucks.
Yeah.
And it ruins your life, and you would never take it. That's why destiny had to choose you. I don't know why it chose this version of you when very clearly in recent canons it's shown that it will be more than happy to find a better, more suitable vessel for its destined bearing to take on. But hey, somehow it chose you, and so now here you are, and I thought you were making progress. You were making your own suit, and there's web swinging. Hey, there's web swinging. That's like one of my enormous complaints. There's web swinging, but you're still doing this thing, man, where you sit here and you opine and you say, I can't get over it. I need them. I can't make new friends. I need them. And it's like, but dude, that was the sacrifice you made. When you wanted to put the genie back in the bottle, it meant everything had to go back in the bottle. That's everything. All right? you can't take that back because suddenly you feel lonely. You need to move on.
Yes.
And frankly, you see him like a stalker.
And this was their opportunity for him to move on to Mary Jane Watson.
Exactly.
This was their opportunity.
Gwen Stacy.
Or Gwen Stacy.
I would take Betty Brant. I would take kind of an age weirdly appropriate now because he's out of high school, but also kind of not appropriate because she's in her late 20s, mid to late 20s, Betty Brant, and she works for J. Jonah Jameson, so there's a conflict there. Or she works for...
Felicia Hardy.
Or Felicia Hardy would be good, like a late 20s Felicia Hardy, who's like, you're just a little too young for me, but you're legal, so it doesn't freak me out. Like, I'm not going to throw up like in some canons when I find out that you're 16 and I'm 27 and we are not doing this. No, you can't do that anymore because he's out of high school, but hey, you can have an actual adult relationship.
Which we know the whole reason they're doing this.
Yeah.
Because of the real life, supposedly they got married secretly. Yeah. Because Tom Holland and Zendaya are married.
And probably pregnant.
And probably pregnant. So that is why they have to keep forcing this love story. And it's like...
But you don't.
No.
Here's the thing. You don't have to. There have been any number of TV shows or other pieces of media where you've had two people that were actually romantically involved in real life that you then had to... One had to move on, or because of story reasons, you had to separate and move on. Like, you can have her in the background, but, like, dude, you are being weird and creepy about this.
This is like Superman Returns, where he's outside Lois's house spying on her.
Well, this is like Amazing Spider-Man, where he's following Gwen to her interview. And you're just dude, like, I don't know. I love that movie, but I don't know about this, man. You can't use your superhero powers to perv on your girlfriend. I know it's not perving, but also kind of. Does she know you're there? No. And you broke up with her, right? Yeah.
The only pass I will give on that. When I remember when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I would absolutely do that.
Oh, absolutely.
So I can understand that from a high schooler's perspective.
Well, it's like Harry Potter. I remember reading the 7th Harry Potter book and the 6th Harry Potter book and just being like, God damn it, you're a fucking teenager. You're making such stupid decisions as a teenager, and it's making me crazy, but I have to give it to you because you're a teenager.
You're a teenager.
And you would make these kind of stupid decisions.
Exactly.
So, but all of this is to say, I don't care if he's 20 in this movie. I really don't. I'm so sick of this, and we need to move on. He needs to stand up on his own. If he's not going to do it now, when is he going to do it? I loathe the guy in the chair meme. I think it's the dumbest thing ever, and it has neutered Spider-Man, to use a pseudo overly masculine term. It has neutered Spider-Man because it used to be that Pete had to come up with these solutions all on his own.
Yep.
That was it. It was him against whatever odds it was. It might have been natural odds. It might have been villains. It might have been being buried under rubble in under the ocean secret lair, and now freezing water is pouring in. Like, there's a million times that he only has himself to get out of a situation.
And the only time he did have help, it was the true Madam Web that was helping him. Yes. But that was...
Exactly. Rarely.
Yeah.
And she would never take him out of a situation where he was going to die because it was always about him proving that he was the one for the job. And so he always had to solve these problems on his own, to the point where he was notoriously bad at working on teams.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't used to working on a team. He didn't know if he could count on people. He didn't trust anyone else to do the job. He was a notorious not jerk, but it was very hard for the Avengers and the X-Men to work with him at times because he wasn't used to working with other competent people. And so the guy in the chair and the Ned Flanders of it all, I know his name is not Flanders, but like, I am so angry about all of this. I was angry about it when you stole Genki Lee. I was furious about it because there it makes sense, because Miles is even younger than Peter was when he first got his power. So it made sense that he needed a hand. But like, this is unacceptable at this point. When are you going... This is a 5-year-old who is just too lazy to learn how to walk. They have nothing healthy wrong with them. They are perfectly fine. They could do it if they wanted to. They just keep on looking for other people and going, uppies? Uppies? And it's like, no, dude, you need to fucking walk, man. Like, you need to do this on your own. I'm so fucking sick of this. You gotta get it done, man.
See, my big problem with this trailer, well, first off, I already mentioned to you, Punisher's in it.
Yeah.
They're going to neuter Punisher because it's a PG-13 movie. We've already laid out that Spider-Man takes place in the Daredevil universe.
This is the other thing that I was about to get to.
So when he gets the key to the city, that should be handed to him by Kingpin, who is now in charge of the city.
Not only that, I thought there was this whole thing where the Kingpin specifically didn't want superheroes.
Yeah.
Wasn't that what the entire last season was about? So why is his office giving out the key to the city?
Yeah, but where is he in the trailer?
And it's his assistant. Yes. It's his assistant from last season.
Yes.
Who is giving out the key to the city to Spider-Man.
Yes.
Which, there's like a million reasons why this pisses me off, but the number one and number two, one, within your own canon, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Because there's an ICE task force out to take out superheroes. So where the fuck are they? Why is he getting
Why is he getting honored?
Exactly.
Two, Spider-Man should never be liked. Again, this is the job. Okay? And this guy got off so fucking lucky.
Yep.
This version of Pete got off so fucking lucky because he had so many people in his corner the entire time. He never had to make a suit because Tony Stark could just make him a suit. Even now, he has this super scanner technology he heisted from Happy Hogan, who shouldn't have had it in the first place.
Yep.
So now he can make this super technology, which also sucks because it means that he doesn't have to do it on his own and make it on his own and figure out where he can get parts to make it on his own out of, like, pieces of VCR. Like, he should be like Donatello. He should be finding things and taking pieces out and creating this technology like Tony Stark in a cave, but he can't because he's always been assisted by other people.
Yep.
It's so frustrating. Like, he should not be liked by anybody. He should... It's the same problem. I had this problem in Spider-Man 3, and I have it now. There is no Spider-Man Day. If there's Spider-Man Day, then J. Jonah Jameson is out on the rocks kicking sand.
Well, that is the biggest problem, is they fucked up the J. Jonah Jameson thing. If they had the Daily Bugle and they had J. Jonah Jameson, because there's still newspapers in New York City, running down...
He has a podcast. He doesn't even need a newspaper.
I don't want to think about podcasts.
I'm just saying, like, that's what they turned it into, and that's where fine, they fucked it up. And we can have arguments over whether it should or shouldn't be, but the fact of the matter is that in canon, he is here.
Yes.
He exists, and he has a voice, and his voice was big enough to impact the last movie. So how does he feel about Spider-Man getting the key to the city from Kingpin, a notorious crime lord that he would also hate? Because here's the thing, Jonah isn't just evil. Jonah has a very specific hate.
Yes.
And he calls out the things he hates very vocally. So it's not that he hates Spider-Man for being a hero. He hates Spider-Man for wearing a mask.
And being a vigilante.
Yep. That's what he hates about Pete.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with spider powers or his costume or anything. It's the fact that he is doing it in the first place.
Yep.
He would 100% call out Kingpin if he knew what was going on, which in some canons he doesn't. But in this one he would, given that Kingpin has gone to jail twice over things. And if Ben Urich and the Ben Urich wannabe that's in season 3, who I actually like. I actually think he's a really fun character, but he's not Ben Urich.
No.
If these two people can call him out, then J. Jonah Jameson would 100% be calling him out for the exact same thing.
I agree.
So you have all of the ingredients here, and you're still just not making it. And then you show me things like Boomerang or the Hand.
Which, if the Hand is in this, you got to think Daredevil
is also would have to be in it.
You have Punisher and you have the Hand.
Yeah.
Two of the major components of Daredevil.
And the Hand the Punisher doesn't fight the Hand.
No.
The Punisher isn't equipped to fight the Hand. No. These are immortal ninjas. All he does is gun people down and blow them up. He would not be able to handle what they have because as soon as he gunned down a room of them, he would go to the next room and then all of the ninjas would rise up and come back to take him on in the next room.
Yeah.
And it rinse and repeat. And I'm sure with enough ammunition, enough explosives, Frank could get it done. But I'm saying pound for pound, Frank can't take the Hand. He's not equipped to do that. At all. And so, I don't mind the Punisher being in this. I think it's kind of fun because Pete and Frank have kind of mixed it up in the past. But, why are you trudging up on... First off, if the Punisher is going after this tank running through Midtown, which is this one scene we keep seeing over and over again, he has to have a reason.
Yeah.
Frank is not a, rooftop warrior who waits for muggers. Frank has a mission and is very, very committed to that mission. So he would only be going after this tank if there was a really good reason for it.
Yeah.
Specifically someone on his list or list adjacent to his list, or someone that he had found out in passing was actually like a child trafficker. So unless that's happening, Frank wouldn't be going after this tank because that's not his jurisdiction. I don't mind that whole interaction. I think that's fine. I don't mind Pete going to Frank for help. I think that's fine. But at the same time, I'm like, why aren't you going to Matt?
Yeah, exactly.
If of the two, historically, the one that you're closer to and who gets you more and who has better advice is Matt Murdock. He's the one that can actually help you with these things.
It's technically Matt Murdock would forgot who he is.
It doesn't matter.
But he needs to.
This is why rooftops are important.
Exactly.
Because
in costume.
Yes. If they knew each other, and Pete knows that something's up with Matt, and even if he doesn't, he has to have heard about the Devil of Hell's Kitchen. And so he just needs to go and talk to him. You know? And even if he can't put one and one together, he just needs to find a friendly ear. I think that's why he's talking to Frank, is because that's the friendly ear he finds.
Which, I don't remember them having that kind of relationship in the comic books. Like, it's not a hate relationship.
No.
But it's not like Punisher wants to be his friend or anything.
They're not friends. It's kind of like an annoying little brother.
Exactly.
Spider-Man has this relationship with a lot of people, the annoying little brother. Yeah. It's the same relationship he has with Logan. He's just the annoying little brother who's there to say, hey, don't kill that guy. And they're like, oh, you're such a drag.
Yeah,
fine. I'll just blow out his kneecap. Okay, I didn't kill him. Are you happy? And but it's the same kind of relationship. So that's fine. I don't mind that. But I'm left being like, I don't know about this. And then we get into the tank scene. And, that was the other thing I wanted to mention. I don't trust that some of these shots aren't one-off shots. A lot of these shots of him fighting villains seem like they're one-off shots in a montage to get fan service moments. And they are not necessarily important or impactful to the plot. There is not necessarily going to be a 20-minute fight scene with Boomerang. The thing with the hand I'm very curious about, but I also don't...
Because there's multiple scenes.
Because there's multiple scenes, but I don't trust it.
Yeah.
Why are they in the prison? What's going on? What do they want that, let's say, Scorpion has? Let's say that Pete put Scorpion on. If this ends up being kind of like a Daredevil TV show, that'd be great, but then you still have the glomming, stalking nonsense of Ned Leeds and MJ. And it just, it makes me crazy. You get into the possession monster, which is another thing that I've heard people refer to it as Mr. Negative. It is not Mr. Negative. No. That is not Mr. Negative's power set. Go please play the video games if you think that's Mr. Negative's power set, because you are so fully wrong. I've heard a lot of people say Jean Grey and or Rachel Summers and or whoever Sadie Sink is playing, which is fine.
I don't see it.
But why would, the only thing that I can think of, and this doesn't make any sense, from what I can tell in this trailer, it's a old woman driving a tank through Midtown. Pete joins the chase. Punisher is there. Pete's worried that Punisher is going to exacerbate the situation, so he removes Punisher from the situation and takes over in his place. They chase this woman down into some kind of either prison or warehouse. She crashes. Pete pulls the door off. There's an old woman. What's going on with this old woman? Ghost, 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 out. Right? That seems to be the beats of the scene. The only explanation I can come up with, because I've gone through what, again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but to pat myself on the back, a pretty deep knowledge base and resources for this. I can't find anything.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
My philosophy is that superhero stuff falls into three categories: science and technology, magic, innate ability. Science and technology is the most prevalent one in Spider-Man. The only one that has any mind control powers that I can freely think of offhand are, I guess, some symbiotes, but this isn't that.
No.
And Doc Ock, who has a machine that allows him to take over the minds of others. It's not that.
It's not Doc Ock.
It could be magic. Magic would be the most easy, direct explanation, but to what end? And Pete doesn't usually fight magical monsters, although if the metamorphosis is certain storylines, it would involve magic, depending on what storylines we're doing. If we're doing the Totem of the Spider, maybe, which would lead to Ezekiel and Cindy Moon, Silk, all these other, so maybe. Or it's innate ability, which would lead us back to Rachel Summers / Jean Grey. But why would she have a woman drive? Why would she kidnap a woman, have her drive a tank through town to get his attention, crash, and then have this weird trail of memories where you can see these people look and wink at him as if to try and get him to follow them? Why go through the whole effort of having this woman drive this tank?
Well, and this is this is the bridge to the Doctor Doom Avengers movie.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to rack my brain. Is this somehow related to Doom? He doesn't have any of these powers and abilities to do this.
He has enough magic that he would be capable of doing it.
But that's what I'm thinking, because this is the bridge to that movie.
But why would he want Pete in particular?
I don't know. That's the thing.
To what end? What is the point of any of this? Why have a woman take this van and parade it through Midtown? Why have it crash into this warehouse prison? Why are all these cops here? Why have this being pass through so that someone can actively watch it happen?
Yeah.
Like, if it's a telepath, you don't have to do that at all. You can just contact Pete. So you would be doing it for the show to get him to follow you, but then why put all these people in danger? Yes. That doesn't make any sense. What's the point of all of this?
So the trailer, to me, this is what I gauged from it. It's Marvel's shitty attempt to try to get every demographic to go see this movie.
Yeah.
You got the people who are not Marvel fans, but they like the love story portion of it, so they really push that. And then you get the people who like the action scene, so you're going to have ninjas, you're going to have the Punisher, like, oh, I remember him. And then they're trying to get the classic fans by having those stop motion shots of, like, comic book covers.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I know that from the comic book. But they're kind of failing at all of it.
Well, and they're doing a metamorphosis. There's like 2 or 3 metamorphosis storylines. So this could be Man Spider. This could be Moreland.
They got to stop mixing so many fucking storylines.
And the thing that I think it is,
the
thing I think it is that his powers are going to become organically based instead of technology based.
Yeah.
So he's going to get the webs. He might get the talons.
Well, they show him in that when he wakes up in the webbing, and you don't see it, but as he's falling, he reaches his arm up, and the web comes out of his wrist.
So he's going to get the natural webbing. So it is an evolution of his powers, which would be closer to the Moreland / the Queen Spider Island. If they do Spider Island, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
Well, and they show Bruce Banner, and you go on IMDb, it says Banner / Hulk. So the Hulk's going to be in it at some point, too. But here's the thing. This is the universe with Daredevil and the Hulk. You would think then they would have to at least make some kind of acknowledgement. I know she's on the other coast, but She-Hulk. Yeah. Because she was such a big part last time we saw Bruce Banner. So it's like, what the fuck?
Well, she's supposed to be a big part of Matt Murdock's storyline.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, where are they going?
I have no idea.
It seems like they've opened all these boxes.
Was it Bruce Banner off planet last we checked? And then, I guess he came back. He came back with Scar.
But then, but does this happen prior to She-Hulk?
Probably not. I think what they're doing now at this point is, and this is a shitty explanation, and it's one that I've just cobbled together because longtime listeners will remember that we have for a long time been angry and had the meme of, what year is it?
Exactly.
I think at this point they are trying to just do what they were doing for a while, which is it takes place in a linear fashion post-snap within the time space of how long between movies.
Yes.
So that was kind of the general sense that we had before the snap, and they're just trying to like kind of continue on like that's the case.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's not the case.
Well, and somebody pointed out online that Banner has that inhibitor on his arm that he had in the hologram at the end of Shang-Chi. So it's like, is Shang-Chi going to be in this? Because he's in New York
Probably
City.
Not. Yeah.
He's in New York City.
No, well, they're all in New York City.
They're all in New York City.
That's what maddening. They're all in New York City.
But it's like...
And yet none of them seem impactful to the plot. And it's just, I'm just left being
like... But that's the thing, though. If you have the hand, it makes sense that you will have not only Daredevil, but you would have Shang-Chi, because he is the only martial art kind of superhero, and he's in the city.
Well, that's the other thing, is that we still have to define what is within canon and what isn't.
Yeah.
Who is Iron Fist?
Oh, that's right, Danny Rand.
Is it Danny Rand or is it Colleen Wing? Because I think it's great to have it as Colleen Wing as the new Iron Fist. I think that would be the way to go.
But they would have to have what's-her-face,
and then you bring Jessica Henwick back.
She'd have to be.
I love Jessica Henwick.
She's awesome.
So I'd love to have her back.
Yeah.
And I would love her to be the new Iron Fist. But then why isn't she here? Her entire thing is supposed to be fighting
the hand. In the Daredevil trailer, they've reintroduced Jessica Jones. Is she going to be in this?
Yeah.
Is fucking
Luke Cage? What's Luke Cage going to be in this
whole time? He's running the club right there in New York City.
Considering Kingpin had this whole anti-vigilante stance, we don't see any vigilantes.
No.
So, like, that was our big problem with Born Again, was that they were like, oh, we got to get rid of all these vigilantes. Meanwhile, there's no vigilantes. And so you're just like, I'm just supposed to take the footage from the other movies and say that is what he's referring to, is these one-off events, and we don't necessarily see a continuation of those events, nor do we have any information on what a lot of these people were doing pre, post, and during and after the snap.
This is like a Rubik's Cube, but instead of colors, they're like Japanese symbols. I have no fucking idea how they're putting this puzzle. Like, it's...
Oh, they threw it against the wall, and they said, forget the puzzle. Shit. We're doing this instead. And it's just like... But the problem is that they do that after every movie. The problem is that after every movie, they're like, okay, so we're going to throw this against the wall, bam. And then we're going to pick these, like, 6 things that we liked about it, and we're going to put those over here, and we're going to reference those again later. And so you'll remember it from that movie that we just threw against the wall, and now we have these reference points for later. But they're not necessarily going to be impactful to other things. This, because they're over here, does not mean that they feed into any other pieces.
Yes.
It's the timeline. It's the same problem as the timeline. What does and doesn't count?
Yeah.
Is Spider-Man around Spider-Manning all the time? And if so, where has he been for a lot of the events that have taken place in New York?
Oh my God. My brain hurts so much.
What did the Defenders do during and after the snap? What was that all about? Did all of them get snapped? Did some of them get snapped? What happened to Nelson and Murdoch during the snap? These are all answers you refuse to give, and I think are exceptionally important to what we're talking about. So, anyway.
It's just insane. Like, I can't... I've thought too deeply into this, and now my brain feels like it's going to fall out of my head.
I'll end with this, because that's the bulk of my thoughts. I'm going to upload a video of my direct reaction as I watch it, because Kelly took it for me.
Oh, that's got to be great.
It's actually not that big, because during it I was just kind of baffled by a lot of things. I was like, okay, all right. But, like... My big thing to take away from all of this is that yesterday I went out to Box Lunch, which is just Hot Topic without the reputation.
Yep.
I was cashing out, and I had a picture, I had a t-shirt on that had the Spider-Man meme of them pointing at each other. And the cashier was like, oh, how do you feel about the new trailer? And I was like, eh. And I'm like, I'm not sitting here like, I'm not going to go into all of that.
Oh my God.
So like, you don't have time for all of that, and I'm not going to do that, so we're not going to do it. But she was like, yeah, I worry that they're being too hard on him. He looks so sad. And I'm like, this is why I rose a stink after Homecoming came out. Is because this is what an entire generation of tweens and 20-year-olds think Spider-Man is this. They think it's this.
Yep.
And it's just garbage. And it's just garbage. And they don't watch any of the other stuff, and they've never read a single comic book, so they just think it's the Tom Holland garbage. Yep. And this is why we raise a stink every single time the canon is trashed, and a show is a vapid, shallow version of a much bigger, greater concept, is because you go in and you meet people, and they talk about something that you know a lot about, and they think they know a lot about because they've watched those Spider-Man movies, but in fact... they've watched a bad version, the worst version of a story that has been told too many times, and yet you found the absolute worst version to make the super pop culture mainstream copy.
Yes.
And
it's what I would like to shake every one of those children. I'm going to refer to them as children because they're children.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Dark Knight? And they'll be like, yeah, I saw The Dark Knight. Every superhero is Batman at the end of that, where he said, make me the villain because that's what the city needs. Yeah. It's their job to be alone, to be depressed.
You think...
because that is the job. Like you said, that's
Batman
the job. At the end is the job.
That's the job. You think you had it hard?
Yes.
Here's an idea. How about you go out, you miss class, you are behind in class, and your teachers are upset at you. And then you go out and you have no money and your aunt is about to be evicted. And you go out and you have to crime fight because there's just problems that only you can solve and no one else is there. You have to be the guy that solves the problem every single time. And then a guy that is supposed to be paying you money, pays you money, berates you the entire time, and then publicly calls you out as being a monster every day. And you go home to your aunt who you love, who is desperate for money, and she says, I hate that Spider-Man. I hate him. I can't believe how terrible he is. Whoever raised him should be ashamed of themselves. He's the very worst of society. Every day.
Yep.
That's the job. You got the easiest version of the job, where Tony Stark comes along and says, here's the super suit. And you get to go to your friends and say, hey, I have superpowers. And they say, that's amazing. Let's all talk about it. I'm going to help you out with your problems. And you have supervillains that somehow are more willing to blow themselves up than fight you.
Yep.
And you just keep going through all of these stupid things, and you fall into the dumbest problems possible, and then you go to the greatest sorcerer alive to solve all your problems, and then you fix it all, and you finally have to make an actual genuine sacrifice, and now you're sad.
Yeah. Ooh. And it's like I'm going to make the analogy of the OG Superman movie and the last Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie. They both, with all their powers, could not save the one person they loved.
Yeah.
Being Pa Kent and being Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
And they had to live with that.
Yeah.
And that is what, like you're saying, is missing
He's never had to sacrifice anything.
Nothing.
He's never had to sacrifice anything.
No.
Not time, not attention, not friendships, not relationships.
Yep.
He's never had to sacrifice literally anything.
Yep.
And the worst he's had to deal with is people making passes at his aunt every time they go out.
And because of this, he will never have that moment from No Way Home with Andrew Garfield when he saves MJ.
Yes!
He'll never have that moment.
No.
And that moment was the best moment of the entire
movie.
And he'll never have that because he's all mopey and sad.
Oh no, my life is so hard.
Yeah.
I can't believe how hard my life is.
Yeah.
Go make friends. There are people out in this universe to be friends with. Buy a camera.
Yeah.
Just trust me on this one when I tell you. Buy a camera. Not a camera on your phone, dumb shit. Like an actual good camera. Trust me.
Yep.
This will work out. All right? If Destiny has told me anything, it's that it likes repetition.
Yeah.
So let's go with the repetition. And I'm just like, oh, Scorpion, he needs a helmet. Oh, the hand, I don't believe it.
See, but that's one of the main reasons why I hate the J. Jonah Jameson podcast thing. The part I loved about Spider-Man working for him is just like with Aunt May, he's around people constantly who despise Spider-Man, but he has to hear it and can't say anything.
He can't say anything.
And that dynamic is gone because he can't work for Jameson because it's like working for Alex Jones. It just won't happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck. Why get rid of that dichotomy? I love that fucking mix.
You could do something really cool with the Hobgoblin if you hadn't killed off Ben Urich, but you did.
Yes.
And so now you can't.
Yep.
There was a really great storyline with Phil Urich, the nephew of Ben Urich, and Phil Urich goes into being a supervillain because he gets the Hobgoblin's gear, and he begins taking videos of himself as a supervillain and posting them online, and the Bugle starts picking it up, and so now he's making money for on the side for being a supervillain, and it's just an anti-Spider-Man story. And it's great!
Yeah.
And you can't do it because you killed off Ben Urich, dumb shit. But, like, anyway, I look at this and I would love to believe that this is going to be good. But the very fact that the only thing that makes me hopeful is the Metamorphosis stuff, which is usually my least favorite storyline. Yep. The Clone Saga, the next worst storyline is any Metamorphosis storyline.
Yes.
They're almost all bad. Or at least they result badly. Spider Island is one of my most despised storylines. I hate Spider Island. It's so fucking dumb. Mm. So this either ends in Spider Island or Man Spider. Those are the two most common, most recent versions of this storyline.
Well, if they keep the Secret Wars storyline correct, it's going to lead to him becoming Venom.
Maybe
because
not.
That's they introduced the symbiote into that universe because a piece got left behind.
Yeah,
but
that's
what it's leading.
They've been introducing stuff and none of it matters.
It's true, none of it matters. But there is that scene where in the trailer where he gets like the black eyes, like he's going through. So right there, at first I thought that's what was happening. I'm like, are they trying to say that the symbiote is in him and that's what's causing this
that's
metamorphosis?
Part of the metamorphosis.
That's what I mean.
But
I realized
the
that at the
symbiote
end
is going to be separate because the metamorphosis is strictly from his body trying to. The mutation is trying to take over his human DNA.
Yes.
So the mutated spider DNA is trying to take over the human DNA, and as a result, he's becoming more spiderly. So this includes things like his eyes changing, him being able to generate natural webbing, having talons that are poisonous, among other things, depending on which can you go after. Sometimes he grows extra arms. Sometimes he gets like a really spidery face. Sometimes he has extra eyes. I don't know if they're going to do any of those things here.
I don't know either. And like I said, the whole Venom thing was just the first time I watched the trailer. When I saw his eyes, I'm like, I know what they're leading into. And it's like, if they're going to keep any kind of continuity with Secret Wars, that has to happen, but I doubt it'll happen.
I doubt it will happen too.
He has to be on another fucking planet to get it anyways, but I don't know.